Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Hey everybody, this is Tank Sinatra. You're listening to the Think Tank podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm glad to have you here. If you're enjoying the show, please do me a favor. Head over to iTunes and leave a review. I love reading them. And if you want access to the full archive with episodes such as Jesse Itzler, Dan Soder, Derek Huff, DMC, go to gasdigitalnetwork.com and use promo code TANK for 2 free weeks and access to all the other shows on the network. Enjoy the episode.
Are they all here?
All but one.
Well, I'm going anyway.
I'm the best at what I do.
You're listening to the Think Tank podcast.
Look at that fucking smile on my face.
With your host, Tank Sinatra.
Big day.
Dude, that was good.
Big day today.
That
me.
intro is good.
I know. I put a lot of work
It's
into it.
really good. And while the intro's happening, there's a screen that I can see you're just staring into my face. It was really good. You're like,
I always get a little uncomfortable when it's like, look at the fucking smile on my
It was
face,
really
but I'm
good.
not smiling at
I'm
all.
pumped to do this right now.
Are you?
Oh, after that intro? Hell yeah.
Shannon, play it again.
Woo!
Yeah. Get those drops ready. He gonna get this work. Yeah.
So good.
He gonna get this work.
Yes.
That's from my favorite rap battle of all time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've watched it like 100 times.
Wait, what is it?
It is. What is the guy's name? I'm gonna blank out. He's from Harlem.
Let it go. It's all right. We don't.
Anyway, he
Yeah.
just. It's like him versus this other guy, and one of the guys was prepared, and the other guy was not, and like, it changed the way that I saw the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
The guy from Harlem was so good. He did like this.
Is it Loaded Lux?
Loaded Lux, yeah. He did this exploitation of the guy's father, who was like a gangster, and the young guy, the son, wants to be a gangster, and he's just like, that's not,
Yeah.
you don't want to go down that road, and here's why. It was just 30 minutes of just this guy getting annihilated.
30 minutes.
Well, it was like half and half. One guy did like 30 minutes, the other guy did like
Good
30
Lord.
minutes. But it was insane.
That's a myth. First of all, anybody that does freestyle is outrageous.
That's the myth. It's not freestyle. It's very prepared. The guy walked in a tuxedo and had like 6 people behind him holding a hearse for the guy to get into. I'm sorry,
When it was over.
a casket for the guy to
Good
get into
Lord.
after it was. Yeah.
Amazing.
A lot of showmanship. So 2 minutes in, I haven't even said who's here. Andy Grammer.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm really good.
You're
Pumped
fresh
up.
off Ellen?
Fresh off Ellen. Fresh off L.A.
This
fresh
is
off
good.
Disneyland.
So you coming to LA already or what?
That's definitely in the mix. I still have my teenage stepdaughter who's got her dad's here, so we can't make any drastic moves at this point. But
Okay.
4 or 5 years is gonna go quick.
Yeah, man.
You know what I
LA's
mean?
great.
Where do you live in LA?
I live on the east side, like Silver Lake, Pasadena vibe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was all over. I was in. We stayed in Malibu. Ellen taped in Burbank. I was over. I passed through Silver Lake a bunch, Toluca Lake. I went to Adam Carolla's podcast studio to have Robert Greene on.
Oh,
over
nice.
there. Yeah, it was a big trip. Disney. Big trip for everybody. And the kids loved it. The kids have never been out there before.
Yeah, it's awesome.
My son knows I lived out there. He knows I go out there often. So he was like,
I gotta come.
Yeah, we were supposed to be on a vacation from April 7th to the 12th. We were going to go to Aruba. And
The world knows.
Ellen came calling.
The world knows. I don't know
was
for
like-
you, but this is what happens with my family: is as soon as you say that you're going to do something, then the world goes like, "You sure?"
Oh, I should plan.
How about we
I
give
should
you
plan another vacation?
Yeah, exactly. Just start planning stuff because that's how it works.
We're gonna get into stuff before we start. I always like to read a review because the people are great that write these reviews. This is from Jersey Girl 05. 5 is my lucky number. I have it tattooed on my wrist.
All right.
Big time. I fumbled upon the think tank, and I truly don't know how. I do follow Tank on social media, and I'm glad I found this podcast. It's just everything I need in my life right now. He's relatable, funny, and just so down to earth. Listen to this pod. So worth it. Such cool guests.
Wow. This is a
Wait.
good review.
Well, there's going to be more of this after
Okay.
they hear you. Such cool guests and topics. 6 out of 5 stars for sure. So if there was a 6-star option, she would have done that.
Really good. Whoa. How long have you been doing this?
It's coming up on almost a year.
How many actual episodes?
This is like episode, let me see, hold on. 50.
Damn.
Right? No, 40, you're like, we're doing 50 now. 50
Great.
will be out next.
That's great.
But you know what? I started this with no like intentions at all. And I just wanted, like, I had, my first guest was DMC from Run DMC. And then I had Jesse Itzler. And I've had people on the show who I'm like legitimately interested in. I would not have somebody on, even if they were a megastar.
Yeah.
If I didn't feel like there was some kind of like a curiosity.
Dude, so much of our lives are fragmented right now with like looking at your phone, social media, all this crazy shit. To sit down with someone for almost an hour and just like connect is fantastic. I mean, like you gotta block it in your schedule.
This would never happen.
Never.
Not between us.
It's too bad, but it probably wouldn't.
I mean, there's no judgment about that. It's just the way it is.
Just probably wouldn't. You got a family. It's hard.
Yeah. And I mean, you coming from Good Morning America to the think tank, you must be like, what the fuck am I doing here?
No, man. I was like, listen, GMA, you got your own thing going on, but I'm going to need to get out of here quick.
They have a good institution over there. They know what they're doing.
I've heard the intro to the think tank, and I want to get on it.
This is like going from GMA to talking to the homeless guy in the corner right afterwards.
It's really great. It's also sweet to be like, to come see you right now as you have like this like Ellen glow that you can't even hide if you wanted to. Yeah. Like it's all over you. Yeah. It's shining off your head like it's crazy. It's good.
I'm degenerate right now.
You're degenerate.
Yeah, I feel it, man. I feel it. You always have that glow. You're a busy dude.
Man, it's amazing and lucky.
Shannon, can you just I just wanted to remind you of something very cool that we did and let people that are listening know if they didn't know. We had Andy perform in a Subway. Just Google Andy Grammer Subway performance. That was cool for me.
So cool.
Because, I mean, I grew up in New York in my entire life, and I know that you started out that way. I remember when we met, so for people, just to give a little background, I got, and this is in no way meant to insult you. I've told you this story before. I got booked for this Subway thing to go be like one of the people that posted about it and like the celebrity or whatever. I don't know what they were thinking, but I get there, I see the lineup. I'm like, Andy Grammer, who's that? Like, why am I the most famous person? You know what I mean? Like this place sucks. Subway has no idea what they're doing. And then you start playing and I literally knew almost every word to every song you played.
So cool.
And I was like, oh, I'm the idiot. Like, okay, so this guy is this guy's got massive achievements. I knew him, I just didn't know him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And then we talked, and you're like, there's been people that I've met through Instagram that like I really haven't vibed with, that I haven't had like a good feeling with, which is no statement on who they are or who I am. It's just like you meet people, and sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. You were like a good one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Shannon, just play like, I don't know, 30 seconds of this.
Oh yeah, we brought the whole crew down there.
No microphone.
Dude, it's a whole thing, man. That was like 4 years of my life. Crazy.
All right.
It's the ultimate just create something out of nothing because there's nobody there. It's such a good, like for any artist, street performing is so good.
Now I've never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine when you're like, it reminds me of like a YouTube inspirational video where like you're home, you get ready, you're broke, you have like an apartment, you leave the apartment, you grab your guitar, and it's just you and your guitar, this thing that's been with you I presume your entire life.
Sure.
You go out there with your buddy, you don't know what's going to happen, but you just start playing because you can't not play.
Yeah.
So when you set up, is there any like trepidation? Like, oh man, so explain to me.
It's horrible. It's the worst.
So glad you
like
said that.
every time, but that's really good. Like that gets you used to this crazy unknown that you have to dance with every day, which is being an artist. I mean, I don't know, for you, even like what you do, I feel like you create your own shot. You're like creating your own stuff. Like probably heading into 2020, you're like, this is going to be great. And also like, oh shit.
No idea what's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay, well, went on Ellen. Yeah. I guess I peaked. I don't know what the hell else I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know? But you have to like go like, okay, cool. I'm going to just figure out how to create more things for the rest of this year. Like it's on me to create it.
Yeah.
And what a great way to get started for 4 years to be like, no one cares that I'm here. No one knows who I am. And the only shot I have at making any money is by literally getting really loud on the street and creating something out of nothing here.
And what kind of songs were you playing? Were you playing originals or
I was playing originals
covers?
And nobody cared. And then you play covers and maybe they care, but still don't care.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of like really getting it, just like getting less afraid with putting your art out there. That is like such a muscle that you have to work.
I think people don't realize that the people that play on the streets are super, super brave.
So brave.
Like you think like, oh, that person's like just doing this because they have nothing better to do. No, they're like,
It's like the same impulse. I never got over this hump. Were you ever good at like just like walking up to a girl and talking to her? You good at that?
no. I mean, I did it because I wanted to meet somebody.
Yeah.
But I was never great at it.
I never
always-
even.
always
I
got
was
nervous.
terrible at that. But it's the same impulse of like, I might look real dumb right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna do it. I think that's a lot of the artistic impulse. You gotta like you get to a place where that's your norm, and you're like, all right, I've been doing that now for 10 hours a day. And so I feel more comfortable about just like writing a song or doing whatever.
In school, I was always willing. I used to say to myself, if like, or I would like something that I would want to say to my kids when they're old enough to understand it is the best way to get smart is to get well acquainted with looking stupid.
Honestly, this is the thing.
So I would like ask questions that I wanted to know the answer to, but I had learned through experience that every time I asked a question in class, people would come up to me and be like, "Thank God you asked that.
Thanks for asking."
I needed to know that, but I didn't want to ask
Yeah.
and seem like an idiot." I'm like, "Well, I'll be the idiot for the whole."
Yeah, you just have to be like, you have to be okay with looking really, really dumb, like so dumb, and just putting yourself out there.
Now,
and
where
failing.
were your spots?
So it's like a whole thing. It was in Santa Monica, and you have, first of all, it's like $140 for the permit for the year.
Oh,
There's
okay.
you can't plug in anywhere.
Okay.
So either just sing without amplification, but that won't get you anything. So you have to figure out how to amplify yourself, but you there's nowhere to plug in. So you have to go like rig some sort of boat battery to. That was the hardest part because I'm like an idiot with that stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to like not give up going to like Fry's Electronics and be like, listen, Jeffrey, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving until you tell me how to do all this. And I would roll all my crap out and just like play. And their rules on Santa Monica are you have to be 60 feet away from someone else.
On the pier, right?
On the pier.
Because
You can only be so loud.
We just saw somebody on the pier that sang so beautifully.
Beautifully.
Yeah.
Did you tip him?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I gave him like $20.
That's great.
He was pumped.
Yeah.
He stopped mid song. He's like, "Thank you so much."
Thank you. For reals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like first come, first serve. So sometimes I would get there really early and wait in front of McDonald's was really good. Forever 21
Yeah.
was good. You like hang out and you know that at 2 p.m. in front of McDonald's is good. So sometimes I would get there at 8 a.m. to wait till 2 p.m. to play.
Yeah.
Because that's when it'd be the most busy. It was a crazy, crazy thing.
And were you single at this time?
Yeah.
So it was just you and your guitar.
Me and my guitar, and then sometimes I would pay. I'd give a percentage of what I made to a guy on a cajon because you could make more money if you got louder like rhythm with you.
Yeah.
And
And were you making decent money?
by the end, I mean, this is the thing. In the beginning, no, you're just bad. I'm bad.
Yeah.
That's what I try to tell artists and be as transparent as I can that like it's okay to be terrible. Like some people are so afraid to even start because they think they're just going to be bad. It's like, yeah, you'll be bad.
Of course.
And then that's Monday.
It's a given.
And then you're like, Tuesday, guess what? You're still bad.
Yeah.
Wednesday, and before you know it, you look up, you're like, well, I'm not so bad.
Yeah.
And so for like the first 2 years, I was pretty bad.
And
Like
then-
as far as money goes, you'd make like $70 on a good day. And then there was a turning point where what I was doing was actually being of service to people as they went by.
Mm-hmm.
You could see like, whoa, this song is actually giving something to you.
Yeah.
And I always say like, it depends on who, especially when you're playing music or any form of art, it's all about who's giving. So if you're bad, then the person's giving you their attention.
Yeah.
And if you're good, if you figured out something that is worth their time, you are now giving to them.
Yeah.
And if you can make that switch, then like things start going fast. So it was like $70, $70, then it's like $700 because you like, you switched it somehow. You got stuff that people like that you're able to do.
Yeah.
So then I was able to make, pretty decent. I paid my rent.
It is part of the charm of walking down that pier is like hearing all of the different melodies and music as you walk through.
It's
you know
awesome.
what I mean? So you're saying by Forever 21 McDonald's. So
Yeah,
you were
so
in the
so I did the pier a
promenade?
couple times, but usually on 3rd Street, like the street that's blocked out.
Yeah.
And you pick your spots. And then what's funny too is you have to move every 2 hours because there are spots that are better than others. So
Okay.
on the even hour, you have to move, and everybody's like looking at each other about, are you going to stay longer and try to get the money that's like, try to get as much money as you can. Say it's like $350. You're like, do I stay here or do I jump ship now to try and get another spot?
And you're
all looking at each other.
Yeah.
Like there's a snake guy across the street and you know the next spot. You're like, am I going to stay here, try to get this money? I'm going to run to the next spot. It was crazy.
And there's no meritocracy. It's like you know that your spot is subject to change, just like the guy who's playing
100%.
horrible music.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Oh, dude.
That would be the part that bothered me the most, I think. Like,
It's crazy. There's no. If you have the permit, no matter what you're doing, you're allowed to be in that spot.
it's equality.
Equality. So the balloon guy, the snake holder, the monkey dude.
The guy
you're like,
sleeping.
it's like you're like competing at the circus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And how did you learn to play? So how old were you when you started on the street performing?
That was probably like 20, 21. You know, my
Okay.
dad's a children's singer, so I grew up around songwriting a lot. And I picked up the guitar.
Is that how he made his living?
Yeah, he's
Wow.
great. Greg Grammer. He's amazing.
What's his name? Greg Grammer?
Red Grammer.
Red Grammer.
Yeah, he's the best. He's Grammy-nominated children's singer.
Wow.
He's legit.
Yeah.
So I grew up around that, but then I was like mostly jock, like only really cared about basketball. And then in college, I started writing songs. And then I moved out to LA.
He must be proud of you, huh?
Yeah, he's great. My dad's the best.
Wow, that's crazy.
Good dad.
So the jump from street performer to, I don't want to say legit artist, but like
No, it's real. So
like validated.
Yeah, my manager, my still manager, his name is Ben Singer. He saw me on the street and we started to work together, but not in like a big crazy way. He like got me a better carpet and a better like jar.
Here's the deal. I'm going to take 10% for the rest of your life. Here's a carpet.
He was really great. And so I wrote a song called Keep Your Head Up on the Street.
Oh man, it's such a great song.
Crazy.
It's, I mean, so this.
So actually, have you had one of these moments? So the moment for Keep Your Head Up was, it was a full day of no, it sounds like, I've told the story so many times, I like almost think it's like a myth. I don't know if you have anything that stories like that for yourself, but I didn't have any money put in my case for a whole day. So that's like a day of getting up, throwing all the crap in your minivan, getting out there,
Working.
unloading it all, playing, and to get that much apathy from the world for that many hours.
Yeah.
I like packed up my cart at like 9 p.m. and I looked up at the sky and I was like, your move. I remember like screaming on the street like an insane person and being like, your move, because I'm literally never going to stop.
Yeah.
I'll be back here for the rest of my life. If that's what you would like for me to be, then just like keep ignoring me. But if you want to help, I'm down.
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes when you talk to the world like that, they respond. So I went home that night and wrote a song called Keep Your Head Up. And that's the one that like took me off the street. It's crazy.
That's fucking crazy.
Like, I'm sure you have, was there moments where you were, where you like really had like a pivotal decision?
Chad, and timestamp that story, please. Thanks.
Because I think you have to have a moment before the world gets it.
Yeah.
You have a moment that's like really profound for you, and it's probably very private.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever told this story before because it sounds really weird.
Yeah, go.
But I was 29. I had moved out to California for no reason. I didn't go out there to like become an actor or try and make it doing something. I just wanted like a change of scenery. I went out there specifically to grow spiritually because I felt like I had stagnated in Long Island. I grew up in Long Island. I knew where every exit was on the LIE, the northern state, the southern state. I knew where everything went. I knew where every great deli was, every pizza place, I had my supermarket. I had everything, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, it was just very comfortable. And I said, I don't think I'm going to grow here if I just keep going in this groove. So I like, if you could imagine somebody pushing a wheelbarrow in a groove, I just like hulked it out of the groove. And I was like, I got to go this way just to see what's there. This is good. And I can always come back to this. This is not painful, but it's not challenging me. So let me go somewhere else.
Bold move.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that.
So I moved to California and I was living in a girl's apartment. I was renting a room for some girl I found.
How old are you at this point?
29.
29, okay.
I was like a full-blown
Dude,
adult.
that's a big deal. That's
Yeah.
different. That's
Yeah.
different than 18.
I had lived on my own at that point. Yeah.
29?
29.
Is a different story.
Living with strangers.
This is great.
Yeah. She had a kid. I guess she needed to like supplement her income or whatever. Thank you for taking me in, even though I paid. It was like a Craigslist thing.
Yeah.
Craigslist was great for finding rooms to rent. Yeah, I think it was like $400 a month, which I knew even if I didn't have a job out there, I could do.
You'd be all right.
Figure it out. So I remember being in the bathroom, looking at myself and saying, because I was sober by this time, and I had a good handle on like what it meant to be a contributing member of society. Kind of like you made the switch to like, I don't want to take these people's money. I want to give them something.
Totally.
So I already knew that thing existed, but I hadn't really grabbed onto it yet. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, if the rest of my life is based on being of service to people and I don't make any money, I'm totally okay with that. And I meant it.
And you meant it.
And I felt like I lifted off the floor a little bit. I felt the pressure on my feet lessened.
Wait, where are you when this is happening?
In the bathroom, looking in the mirror.
You're just looking in the mirror.
Looking in the mirror.
By yourself.
And gravity lessened. For a moment, it was like I felt lighter. So I was like, oh my God, what was that? And then I figured out that was like, that was a sign that I was moving in the right direction because I wasn't so self-centered anymore.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, there was still struggles, but it kind of set me off in the right direction. And then I had some tax issues.
Sure.
Yeah, that I didn't pay them, so that was the issue for like 6 years.
Okay.
And the state garnished my bank account, so they just like took all of the money out of it one day, and I got a notifications from Chase, and it said, you agreed to have $200 in your bank account, and there's $0.00. And I was like, oh, what? Like, what happened? So I called up Chase. I was like, there's been a mistake. I'm a victim of fraud.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, this is New York State. They, they emptied your bank account. They're going to continue to do that every time you put money in there until the debt is paid off. And it wasn't a lot. It was like 8,000, but it was like enough. I mean, I had zero at that point. So 7,000 might as well have been 7 million. And I was complaining to a guy at the gym. Two things happened. One, I was on the treadmill and I was like, man, I gotta make more money like right now. I shouldn't even be at the gym right now. I should be out trying to find a job. It was like 9:00 at night. And I kept saying that over and over again. And then I was like, no, yes, you do need to make more money, but you also need to maybe find a way to enjoy your life, even if you don't have money, because you might not have money.
Yeah.
So then I was in the locker room with this guy, Scott, and I told him what happened. And he said, dude, some people just aren't meant to have money. Like they'll just never have money in their entire life. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, well, not me.
Yeah.
And this guy was tying his shoe and he looked up at me and he was like, oh shit, like this guy's serious. I don't know this guy who's tying his shoe. Those three things kind of set me off on the path where I was like, it really isn't about money. It's about becoming valuable to society, and then you will be rewarded with money if you
can be valuable,
providing valuable.
If you can be of service to the community of the thing that you love.
Yeah.
You're on the right track.
And people value escape. They value numbing of pain. That's why drug dealers make a ton of money.
Sure.
That's why musicians and athletes, because they give you like your songs. I don't know how many times I've had an emotional experience to Don't Give Up on Me, but it's like in the dozens probably.
Yeah.
Especially watching it with my kid. The last one with the woman who you sang to in the classroom.
God. So sweet.
You dick.
I mean, I right now have been waking up just like so excited to try. And it almost sounds cheesy saying it, but to like try to go be of service to people. If this is where you're coming from, then things move for you.
They move because it's pure, and because I think the world knows that it needs a lot of help. And it always has, not just now.
No,
it's been since the beginning of time. People have been looking for something to hold on to fight for. And I think for me personally, music gives me that. I was just listening to, this is so bizarre, but I was listening to the Interstellar score.
So good.
You know it?
I mean, I remember the movie was unbelievable.
Hans Zimmer?
Yeah.
Bro, that guy is
unreal.
There's a song, there's 2 tracks. One is called Mountains, where they're on the planet with the water.
Yep.
And like this massive wall of sound hits you like halfway through. And in my car, I have like a good sound system. So I'm like entrenched in it. And then Stay, which I've listened to probably 30 times over the past 2 days. It's just, I love music. Music gives me something that I have never gotten from anything else.
It's so good. I think it's an intensifier. Oh shit, it's coming right now.
1 minute on this planet is 7 years on Earth. We gotta be fast. Look at those mountains over there. Those aren't mountains. They're waves.
Oh my God.
Seen the movie. Like, I'm actually going.
I need a rewatch of that movie. That's good.
So here's how much I love the movie.
Okay.
I'm going, because I never saw it in the theaters. I only saw it like afterwards. I watched it one Friday night, and then I watched it again that Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I made my wife watch it. It's almost a 3-hour movie.
It's so deep.
And she's not good with movies like that. She falls asleep like 30 minutes into anything. And that scene on the planet, I looked over and she was like on the edge of her seat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. So we're going up to Toronto February 22nd to go see it on IMAX 70 millimeter.
Wow.
If it's like a 2-hour flight. If it was, on the West Coast.
You're getting on a plane for a movie. That's
I'm getting
a big
on
deal.
a plane because I love that movie that much.
That's amazing.
I can't wait to see it. I'm like so looking forward to that.
I love how certain things can affect us so much. So like you're going to get there and there'll probably be other people who have done similar things. And you'll know that like when you're there, you're like, oh, this movie did something to you too.
Oh, this
So
movie's
sick.
this movie came out like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
This is going to be filled with people who follow the subreddit
Who are like
Interstellar.
so intense. Yeah. and I love because when people come to shows or when they like cry at a show or you can see them singing.
Yeah.
And there's levels of fans that come to show, and sometimes you can see someone else go like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah.
You're like, why are you so intensely invested? Like I'm watching and I'm enjoying, but I see you're like crying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's fun to see that we all have our own connections to this stuff.
Well, you don't know, like, especially with music, because you have no idea what was going on in one individual's life when they heard this song, and this song may have gotten them through the toughest thing they've ever been through in their entire life.
So we had a meet and greet this tour on the Don't Give Up on Me tour.
Yeah, tell me some of these stories.
And the meet and greet is all about, and then I'm going to ask you to do it, which is great. So the meet and greet is 50 to 100 people come in, and I say, like, I got a song called Wish You Pain. Which
This is after a show or before? Before
Yeah,
a show.
They pay extra to come meet, and I put everybody in a circle, and I go like, all right, I need you all to share your deepest pain, the worst thing that's ever happened to you in your life.
Oh my God.
And then tell me what it forced you to grow into. Like what area of your life did you get swollen because you had to go through this intense thing?
Yeah.
Unbelievable experience. And what it's making me think of.
And you do that in every city.
I did in every city. And I did it for almost like an hour every day, and my life has honestly shifted. Because anytime I see something bad, I have all these different people that have shown me the most terrible things that can happen to humans, and then they'll stand there with strength telling you how it forced them to grow into something bigger.
Yeah.
Which was unbelievable. But it made me think of this girl who came to she came to like 20 of the shows.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. And even for me, I'm like, whoa, I know that we're good, but like 20 shows is a lot of shows to come to.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm on a tour bus. I don't know how the hell you're getting to all these shows.
Yeah.
And she finally she paid for the meet and greet on our last one that she came to. And she shared in the circle. She's like, I had a son and I lost him. And the only thing that like makes me happy right now is coming to these shows. And me and my husband just decided that like, I know I'm going to look insane, but I'm coming and I'm going to like sing at every one of these shows and dance. And it's like what makes me happy. So we just aren't judging it. We're just doing it.
Wow.
And I'm like, totally. You just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, like even that sweet review you got.
Yeah.
She needed it.
Yeah.
She needs to hear your voice and talk about upbeat things, you know?
Or
Still.
people losing kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Because life is all of that.
Yeah.
I was in, I had, so when I say it was a crazy week last week, I took my family to Malibu and, this isn't like, hopefully I'm not oversharing here with, my wife would be okay with it. But basically we have a teenage, she has a 13-year-old stepdaughter. She has a 13-year-old daughter. It's my stepdaughter. And while we were in Disneyland, it became apparent that the girl, because she went to go live with her dad. So the dad's like, now that I see how she is all the time, I'm going to have her come live with me for like a couple of years. And my wife was upset. She was devastated because she felt like the dad was saying that she's not a good mother, all this, yada, yada. So the moral of the story is that we're in Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. She's crying hysterically.
Who?
My wife.
Got it.
On the phone, going through this thing. The kids are like oblivious. They're having the time of their lives. Then we were in Malibu. We went to the beach, this beautiful sunset. My son is digging holes. Then I was on Ellen. Then Chris, the other thing. And it was just when I say what a week, it wasn't like something bad happened during the week, but it was still it's in the compartment of life. And I don't shy away from life at all, ever, in any form. And I was proud of my wife for crying in Disneyland, believe it or not, because she's someone who I think for a large part of her life kind of like refused to feel things. Yeah. And when I got sober, my mom gave me a card. She said, I know that you've been trying to numb the pain for the last few years, but when you numb the pain, you also numb the joy. So although I'm sad you're going to be feeling pain in your life, I'm happy for you that you're going to be feeling joy. And
this is sick.
Yeah.
She wrote this in a card?
Yeah.
That's good.
She goes, all of it's good, and it's all to teach you. And I was like, ready for it at that point.
How old were you when that happened?
22.
22.
Yeah, which is young.
That's
young. Now that I'm older, now that I'm 39,
I feel like you can get away with it till 30s.
Well,
not you can't, but like it's like you could eat McDonald's in your 20s and be okay, and then you hit 30, you're like, yo, I'm not okay.
It depends
not
on.
even just shitting on McDonald's, just like fast food in general. Like it catches up with me way more.
Yeah,
and I think emotionally
doctor,
things do that as you get older as well.
Well, the stakes are lower when you're a kid. Yeah. Like when you're a kid, and I count 20s as a kid, you're in like a training ground for the rest of your life. So however you operate the under 10 doesn't count, I don't think. Teens, a little bit important, but still you're so full of hormones and it's your first time doing everything that like you really can't be held to that standard.
Yeah.
And in your 20s, you really start to develop patterns that are going to be very difficult to break.
Yeah.
If you really want to change. So when I was 22, I looked at my life and I was like, all right, I can either continue this way until I'm like 50, and at which point I will definitely have to quit because I'll die otherwise. Or I can stop now and look at the rest of my life not drinking. And then I did a little math and I was like, no, I'm not going to make it to 50 if I operate.
So there was no like crazy moment for you? You just thought your way out of it?
No. There was a crazy moment every day.
Okay.
Getting into drunk driving accidents,
Sure.
waking up in places I had no idea where I was. I was a blackout drinker.
Wow.
Blackout every single time I drank.
That's impressive.
That's not normal. That's not like fun 20s. Like even I always say I went to University of Maryland. Even in a town of like 38,000 kids, I felt like I was a little bit out of control.
Yeah. That's
38,000 kids drinking like college kids.
Oh my goodness.
People were
did people call you Tank then?
No.
Oh, got it.
Tank is very new.
That's good.
Tank was a mistake, but a very
good.
serendipitous mistake.
Yeah.
It works.
Totally works.
I was always big, but I wasn't like Tank.
Yeah.
I was like 220.
Man, that's impressive at that young of an age to look your demons in the face. I feel like that's one of the scariest things about being human.
Yeah.
Is to like, look your stuff in the face.
I wanted to have a good life.
Yeah.
I really did. And then in my first year of sobriety, my cousin died in a motorcycle accident. My best friend died of a drug overdose, and my aunt was killed in a car crash. So this first year of sobriety, which is tough anyway, just like getting up and making your bed and brushing your teeth is like a process. You're like an open nerve walking around.
Yeah.
Then I had to deal with this other stuff. And I always feel like God, higher power, whatever you want to call it, challenges me. When I begin a new endeavor, it's always the hardest it's going to be in the beginning.
Yeah.
So just in case in point with this Instagram thing, it's like, it was not fun. It was fun, but it wasn't like rewarding for like years.
Sure.
I was out there on the streets, not, metaphorically, not literally, but I worked essentially for free for like 3 years.
Totally.
On something.
You said you had Derek in here. I forget. He posted something the other day, Derek Huff, about you're rewarded in public for what you do in private.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we forget. We'll see someone on Instagram and be like, nah, they don't. They're just great.
No, man, nobody's great.
Nobody's great. We're all pieces of shit.
Sucks.
Honestly.
You know what I realized? At whatever point people discover you, they think that you've been that way forever.
Yeah.
So if somebody discovers you on the streets, they know that you were on the streets at some point, but now you're doing great and they're happy for you. Somebody discovers you today, they just assume, and it's through no fault of their own, it's just human nature. They just assume you've always been a platinum selling, touring, recording artist.
Yeah.
They don't think about the fact that maybe,
That's why I love podcasts. They continue to be like gasoline in my engine because I need to hear people that I respect talk about how hard it was and how bad they were.
Yeah.
I don't know why I need that, but I need that like consistently. And I understand it when I'm listening to a podcast and I'm like, okay, cool. This person that I know and I respect and they do really cool stuff, they're like me. And then if I don't hear one for a while, then I just like forget again. It's not something like the logically that you can know. It's like something you need to keep understanding that most people that do great things or that you see do great things, they sucked a lot.
Well, it's easy to forget.
Yeah.
Like, because like when you had Derek Huff on your podcast, that was when I was like, I got to get this guy on my podcast. When he told that story, because I always assumed being a male dancer growing up, you don't just, I was able to figure out, do a little math and be like, he can't be that good at dancing if he wasn't dancing when he was a kid.
Yeah, forever.
So what is it like when you're a kid and you're dancing and to hear that story of him with his neighbors?
Dude,
it's like,
nuts.
Holy shit.
Hard.
Yeah,
Intense.
really, really hard.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like that could have defined who he was.
My favorite thing we've talked about so far for anyone that's listening is this idea that you have to make that your aha moment usually happens alone.
Yeah.
Like in your own self.
Yeah.
Before the world gets it.
Yeah.
So you have an aha moment and you're like, whoa, okay, I feel a little bit different.
Yep.
I'm going to go at this a different way. And the world is still like, we still think you're still like the same piece of shit, but like,
Yeah.
And that's when the battle begins.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, nope, actually, I'm here to be of service to as many people as possible. And then the world will test you until you actually start to do it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I always think about my friend Dave told me this story about this guy that he went to high school with down in Maryland. And he was the guy was popular, good looking, athlete, friends, parties, all that. And then in his senior year, he just disappeared. He was still in the school. They'd see him in class, but they wouldn't see him anywhere else. The summer after their senior year, OAR comes out, and Mark Roberge is the guy who went to high school with him. And I got to have Mark on the podcast and hear that story from him.
Whoa.
That's something that was told to me probably 15 years ago, and I think about it a few times a week. Because it's like people that know you want to keep you the way that you are to them. And they don't want you to change because they like the way you are, even though you may have something inside you that's driving you to change. That moment when you're alone in your room practicing guitar, getting better, struggling, suffering, missing out on parties, missing out on hanging out with friends, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
Like that thing said, you're rewarded in public for what you do in private.
Yeah.
But I think it's important, like you just said, to talk about the private stuff because people only see the public stuff.
Yeah.
They don't know that I cry myself to sleep every night.
So I just
How could they know
had, because I get really passionate about this stuff. It's like one of my favorite things to try and like build up, especially artists. Anybody trying to do anything artistic, I love to like try to build them up. So I just had a birthday party. For my birthday, I had 20 songwriters over that I know are good but don't have hits.
Yeah.
And I tried to be as transparent as possible and be like, I know that it's almost impossible. You're looking at me and you're like, you're thinking you're different than me maybe just because you haven't had one yet. I promise you're not.
Yeah.
Let me like get as ugly as I can. Let me tell you how ugly my voice was, how I didn't understand this, how I didn't know how to do this, how I didn't know how to do this, and like really let me believe that it's possible for you, so that you can hopefully take some more steps and go for it.
Yeah.
I think it's really really cool to try and be.
And what was the response to that?
Oh, it was awesome, dude. That was really really sweet. We had like a 2-hour hang where I tried to share as much as I could, and then they were super grateful. I hope we'll do it again.
Yeah.
It's really sweet to try to encourage other people. That's like one of my favorite things to do.
And that's really,
And then that pumps you up.
of course.
Dude, I left.
It's all about you.
The most pumped up. Exactly. Like I left having give every trick in the book that I have on how to hack creativity or how to make sure that I keep pushing harder. I tried to give everything away. And then what do you know, by the time the party's over, I'm like, I'm so pumped to go do my own thing.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I don't judge people based on pretty much anything. Like I don't judge people based on the color of their skin, their religion, race, sex, whatever. I just, even their actions, I don't judge people based on. I feel like people make mistakes and I don't hold people to anybody, any impossible standards. One group of people that I have a major problem with is people that have made drastic changes in their lives and forget how they did it so they can't help anybody else do the same thing. That really bothers me when people make massive changes. They go from point A to point B. They didn't write anything down. They didn't pay attention. They think it's luck. It's not luck. So now not only can you not help people get to where you are, probably out of a little bit of fear, you think that it's a zero-sum game. And if you went from point A to point B and someone else goes to point B, they're going to take yours, even though it's two totally different trajectories.
Yeah.
And then the worst one is when they judge people who are still stuck at point A and they look at them as somehow different.
Totally.
It's like, man, are you kidding me?
The only version of that I am is I love to eat
Donuts.
Yeah. And terrible food and sugar and all this stuff. It's like that's my vice. I love it. And I'll say out like going on GMA today, I'll eat really healthy for like a week. And literally third day, I'll be like, these people are gross. I don't know how that happens, but I mean it. I'll be like getting a salad and someone behind me get like a sandwich. I'm like, oh, it's a lot of bread. I don't know. Just watch out.
You don't care about yourself?
You don't care about that's fine. Listen, that's fine.
You might need to do that though, to keep yourself on track.
It's possible.
It's probably a little bit of like a defense mechanism.
Terrible.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, this is like in those terms, I think about this. I think about how, I don't even know if this is going to come out right. How many men adopt misogynistic tendencies so that they're not tempted to cheat on their spouse. So like everybody but their wife sucks and is an asshole and is a bitch.
Oh.
And if they cultivate that feeling so that they're not tempted.
Interesting.
I think that there are definitely men out there who change the way that they feel about women once they get married.
As a defense mechanism?
Yeah.
That's possible. There's better ways, but
Janet, cut that out, please. Of course there's better ways. Yeah, just commit. You know what I mean? Like, and be a decent person. It's very hard to be a decent person, though.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Totally.
But it's totally worth it. It's not as much work as being full of shame your entire life.
No, but these are things like I'm proud of you as like a friend of yours. 22, that's amazing.
Yeah.
To like really look at your shit.
I can't believe it, dude.
That's amazing. There's a shot that doesn't happen. This isn't a given.
No.
Right?
No. And there's been plenty of people who I'm very well aware of how reliant on grace I am.
I love this stuff because it's so outside of like comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? You say that, and I don't know. I feel like I'm in on what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether everybody is, and so sometimes I get uncomfortable.
Well, I think
But I'm so in.
Yeah.
It's the only way. I'm 100% relying on grace.
Then who cares about everybody?
I know.
else?
This is my thing that I got to work on.
Yeah.
That's why I started a podcast. Because I'm like, we got to talk about this shit. There's like so much more going on than just what we're normally doing.
Yeah.
I want to know what your thoughts on grace are, what you think happens when you die.
Yeah.
What's like, I want to know the deeper stuff, and I have trouble talking about it because I feel like I don't want anyone to feel judged or weirded out.
You want to know the good parts.
Yeah. So then I like...
That's the name of your podcast.
That's the name of my podcast. So then I made this podcast to make myself talk about it and then be like, okay, because I don't want to annoy anyone. That's my shit.
You know what, bro? If here's what I've discovered from listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to somebody for an hour that I'm not interested in.
100%.
Or that I'm not curious about how they feel about the things that I feel about. Like
Yeah.
if we're in line with that. And if we're not, why they feel that way. That's what I don't care if somebody agrees with me. I'll listen to anybody talk about anything if it feels like they've thought about why they feel that way.
Totally.
Even politically, like that's where I stand. Like if somebody's way across the aisle politically, I'll listen to their reasons. If they get on a like, yeah, I don't know, because they fucking the immigrants are stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
All right, well that seems like maybe you haven't given this a lot of thought.
Sure.
Maybe you should turn off the news for a second and sit in a dark room alone and figure out why you hate these people.
Sure, but there's
then
a
I'll
lot of
listen.
smart people. Yeah, yeah.
And then I'll listen to you. Or if I ask somebody a question about something that they're interested in and their eyes light up, I don't care what they're talking about, I will listen to it. All of a sudden it's interesting.
Yeah.
Chess, art, whatever. Stuff that like I'm not normally into, I become very into it when somebody else gets into it.
So let me ask you my favorite question. Number one, what's your most spiritual experience?
Oh man, I don't even know. I've had a lot.
Have you?
Yeah.
Hit me with one.
One was in the bathroom when I literally, I didn't actually levitate. I just felt
You may have.
the pressure lighten up on my feet. The other one was when I was driving down, there's a road called Jericho Turnpike out in Long Island. And I was driving down the road and I was listening to, for you. What song is that?
I'm so excited.
Isley
Keep
Brothers.
going.
What is that? The Righteous Brothers.
Okay.
That Love and Feeling. Shut the fuck up, Janet.
I was trying so hard. I was like locked in. Like
You know the
I'm gonna
song,
get this.
right?
I'm gonna get this.
So I was driving down the road and that song was on and I saw the sky and this place that I grew up in since I was literally born in a totally different way. There was no outcome of that. It was just like, wow, things are different. I've had so many, dude. I had one in church once and I'm not like, I go to church, I read spiritual books. I love anything that has to do with like, there's something that bothers me about atheists, and it's this. Ricky Gervais, I would love to talk to him. I'm never going to talk to him, but he's got this thing. He said it on Stephen Colbert's The Late Show.
Yeah.
He goes, here's why I'm an atheist. There's 5,000 gods. So I don't believe in 5,000. You don't believe in 4,999. So we're not that different. Stephen Colbert goes, okay.
Yeah.
Then he goes, here's the other reason. If all of the texts and all of the books were wiped away from the earth, the Bibles, the Quran, everything, all the science textbooks, if everything, all the knowledge was deleted from the earth, in 2,000 years, science would still exist, but the Bible would not. And I disagree with that. I disagree with that because science is people's desire to understand the world that they can see, and spirituality is their desire to understand the world that they can't see.
Sure.
And their desire to understand the world that they can't see predates their desire to understand the world that they can see. Science is relatively new. So, the Bible would be rewritten. Maybe the guy's name wouldn't be Jesus. Maybe it would be something else.
Sure.
But it wouldn't be called a cell either. It would be called a block or whatever. You know what I mean? Like things would have different words. So man's desire to understand that they can't understand has been going on forever. So I don't agree with his assumption at all. So where was I going with this? What did you do?
You were getting to this. You were singing a song.
So I was in church.
Yes.
Okay. I was singing a song. So I was in church, and it was on Easter, right? And they were talking about how on the third day Jesus rose, which I have a little bit of a hang up on.
Sure.
They rolled away the stone, which, by the way, is like my favorite Mumford and Sons song. Yeah. There's so many lines in that song that just hit me very hard. But Peter ran from the tomb to where everyone was hanging out, and he explained how unlikely it was for a man in that day to run with sandals and sand and a dress and dignity. They just didn't run.
Got it.
That was like unheard of. So running is significant in this story. And I had to excuse myself because I lost it. I could not stop crying because I was thinking about what it would be like if somebody tapped me on the shoulder in church and said, "Yo, Mike's alive." Yeah. I would run.
Totally.
To wherever he was and have to see for myself. So the story is more important than the actual details of the story. The story is that there's hope for people. And even if like you don't believe that he rose from the dead, literally in physical form, and then ascended into heaven, which I have a hard time believing, it doesn't negate the lessons that come out of his life.
Totally.
So that was a massively spiritual experience because it helped me understand that these details are irrelevant. The lessons are what are important.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
What's yours? Do you know? You seem like you've had a lot.
I've had a bunch.
Yeah.
So I'm a Baha'i. Have you ever heard of the Baha'i faith?
Oh, yeah.
Super cool.
Rainn Wilson,
baby. Rainn Wilson, Justin Baldoni. That's our squad.
Dean Cain.
Yeah, exactly. So the Baha'i faith is around this idea of progressive revelation.
Yeah.
That there's just one God and that God has come in succession to never leave man alone on earth.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool way to grow up because you're just sort of like same team.
You grew up like that?
Yeah. So it'd be like,
Wow.
You want to go to the temple with your friends after school? I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to church or something? Like, of course. And then there's like awesome Baha'i teachings and gatherings and all that stuff. But it was an interesting way to kind of like have it all fit together that made a lot of sense to me. And so I've been to Israel 3 times because that's where the center of the Baha'i faith is.
Yeah.
And, one of my stories that comes up for me that I've told a couple times, but there's one of my favorite spiritual teachers. So Baha'u'llah is the prophet, and his son was Abdul Baha. Mm-hmm. And if you go to Israel, both of their shrines are there. And I went for the first time when I was 16 to Israel.
Yeah.
And I went into the shrine of Abdul Baha, who was an incredible spiritual teacher. And I like prostrate myself. I'm down on my knees, and I'm like looking around at everybody's crying. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be sick. Like, I'm ready to okay,
yeah,
let's do this.
Uh-huh.
So I get down in my little zone. I put my head down. I'm just like waiting for the thing.
Uh-huh.
And nothing happens. I'm like looking around. There are other people like sobbing at this beautiful thing that I'm not experiencing.
Yeah.
So finally I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I stand up and I leave. And I remember at 16, I go and we had lunch with my parents. I was like, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And I remember them being like, oh, I've seen their eyes get really, really big. So I leave. I have kind of a weird experience, to be honest. I don't know what this is. So then I am living alone in Hollywood. And one of my friends gives me this book about Abdul Baha.
Uh-huh. And
and he was a servant to the poor. He's like the sweetest guy in the world. And he would always give away. You never give a bed to him because he's always keep giving it to people that live on the street. And he was known for so much taking care of the poor. And if you read too many of those stories, in a short period of time, you're like, maybe I should just give my coats away. Mm-hmm. So I started doing these little acts of I'm not balling, but I have more clothes than I need.
Yeah.
And so on La Brea, I would go across to Ralph's, get a bunch of waters and whatever clothes I had, and I would just go outside, and anybody that was asleep at night, I'd put a water and whatever extra clothes I had. And I started to do this kind of consistently because if you do that, it feels amazing.
That's smart to do it when they're asleep because sometimes things can get a little hectic.
They can get crazy. So you just do it when they're asleep. You know that they're going to wake up and get some extra stuff. And then doing it a bunch, it became kind of addicting because it was like, it felt so good. And then for my birthday, it would be like, all right, everybody come together. We're going to go do this stuff. And I've been to Skid Row in Los Angeles. It's wild down there.
Yeah.
I actually made a music video about Skid Row. So I became someone who, like, my friends knew that I would do this. And then when people know you're that guy, then they call you for things. So I had like probably 2 or 3 years of just like being active around this thing. Mm-hmm. And then my mom passed away and we went back to Israel. And I wasn't thinking about it, but I get back to the Shrine of Al-Dubaha, who I now have like a relationship with.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about it. And I went in and had this small little inkling that he was pleased with me. Lost it. Totally cried. Blown away. Unbelievable. And that was really powerful to me to be like, oh, this is like a relationship.
Yeah.
I got to like put in
Yeah.
to this to get out some incredible stuff here. It's not just show up and freak out. It's like, oh man, now I know you. We're like close. This is like a thing. That was really cool.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to connect with anybody that you look up to, especially somebody like that in whatever way.
In whatever way.
I was thinking when you were 16, expectations can ruin a spiritual experience.
Totally, dude.
They can. They do.
Yeah, they do.
I went to go get acupuncture. First time I went to go get acupuncture, I tripped out. Full blown, like back in my childhood home, running around the halls. It was the first time I had felt free in like since I can remember.
Whoa.
Get in acupuncture. I went back to acupuncture a week later. I was like, come on, freedom, let's go. Let's hit this trip. And it didn't happen because I was expecting it.
Yeah.
So when you're,
Expectation. That's interesting. Expectations can ruin a spiritual
they
experience.
ruin everything.
They ruin everything.
They ruin everything.
Everything.
I hate expectations. They say expectations are resentments waiting to happen.
Yeah, totally.
Which I fully believe in. And I didn't understand, like you, I just actually discovered a new way to look at it because I always said I have low expectations and people get the wrong idea. When you say that, they're like, well, what do you think, something bad's going to happen? No, I just don't expect anything at all. I don't expect bad or good. I'm just going to do what needs to be done. Whatever happens is up to everything outside of me. But now I have low positive expectations. So I have an inkling or a feeling that something good is going to happen. I just don't know what, and I don't care what. It's irrelevant to me at this point what good comes to my life because when I sat down with, so the Ellen thing was like a year in the making. And when I sat down with them for the first meeting, they were like, what's your best case scenario for this Tank's Good News thing? And I was like, I wouldn't even paint myself in a corner like that. I have no idea. I know enough at this point to know that I know nothing. And I don't know how things are going to go. And I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep posting, keep finding stories, keep finding ways to expand it and make it more interesting. We're into video now. I'm going to start doing something else that I think will help me connect to people. Whatever happens as a result of that happens. But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing video so that I hope that some sponsor sees it and goes, I want my name on that.
Sure.
Like I know that's going to happen eventually. I'm just not. Expectations also decrease patience, which is vital for success.
Totally.
Because I don't expect anything. I'm not impatient about anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your successes, I was going to say success, but I changed it halfway. Successes are really inspirational, especially knowing, I knew your story, but I hope that people that are listening now know that it doesn't come when you say it's supposed to come. And if it did, you'd probably shortchange yourself.
Totally.
Did you think your life was going to wind up like this?
Kind of similar to what you're saying. I mean, I remember sitting on the street waiting to play for no one and having this weird audacity and humility at the same time, right? Like you have this humility because that's you're even there.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, the truth is that no one gives a crap about me right now.
Yeah.
And it's a freedom of speech thing that like you can't tell me to stop. So this is where I am. And I'm okay with that. This is my spot. So I'm humble by the fact that I'm here.
Yeah.
But I'm also supremely audacious to think that I'm the one that's going to get off the street and be on the radio and do other things and play around the world and stuff. So I kind of found some sort of zone to hang in both of those. And I had a hunch that things would eventually turn out right if I just kept going. I think that's the craziest thing. Just like keep going. And that's what I think a song like Don't Give Up on Me cheers that part of people on.
Are you singing that to yourself or are you singing that to other people?
Oh, I'm singing it to myself.
Yeah.
100%. I'm like, man, I need another song that like is really massively of service to people. I'm like a little bit of in a creative rut I need something.
Yeah.
You know. And then I read a song.
And you're how many albums in now?
Okay,
5?
so check it out.
Yeah.
That was the 5th song of the day. So I wrote that with 4, like there were 3 other friends. One of them's in Maroon 5. 4 of us. We're all pretty good songwriters. Maroon 5?
No, number 5.
Number 5.
5th song.
So we, yeah, exactly. So we're sitting in, we write a song and it's good because we're all pretty good. Mm-hmm. And we're like, nah, it doesn't make me like freak out.
Yeah.
So then we write another song. I'm like, this one's good too.
Yeah.
But not like amazing.
Yeah.
So we write another song. Usually, this never happens. I usually write 1 or 2. Write the 4th one, and then I'm finally like, it's not here today.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And this guy, Jake Torrey, bless his heart, was like, I'm not leaving until we got to get something, right? And I was done. I'm like, I'm out. I'm like, this is great. We wrote 4 songs. I showed up to slay the dragon today. I did. There just was nothing here to
He just
slay.
won't die.
He won't die.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to leave. He's like, let's write a song about not giving up writing songs. I was like, you're speaking my language, dude.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And we wrote it in like 20 minutes.
Wow, man.
Awesome.
And that's, I mean, that.
But it's so much more messy than everyone thinks. It's so gross. It's like a weird way to get there. It's not like I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
I have this idea and this talent that like can't help but come out.
No.
It's like, nah, dude. 5 songs. The
Yeah.
5th song is when it finally like things started to come together. Yeah.
And writing a song is not an easy process.
No, they usually suck.
I mean,
Most of them suck.
You start off with a bring.
Yeah, most of them are like, that's okay.
Yeah.
And you know, like when I try to mentor other songwriters, it's like your good song literally does 0 for anyone. The only song that makes a difference is one that you hear.
Yeah.
I mean, how many songs this year have you heard that you're like, I have to tell someone about this song?
Oh,
None?
my God.
1?
No, a lot.
You're big at this.
Yeah.
Okay. Which ones? This Hans Zimmer one, which is great. I'm gonna go get into it.
I feel like every
It happens a lot to you.
Movement by Hozier,
Yeah.
fucking big song.
So good.
Don't Give Up on Me was one of them.
So you would, but it's rare that you have it hit you so hard that you need to go tell someone else that they need to listen to it.
Yeah.
These are the only ones that go.
Yeah.
And that bar has to be so high.
And there's no way for you to know that a song is that, right? Or do you know?
You try to like plan it out and like, you know, usually if you write so many, there's ones that stay with you.
Yeah.
But this one, honestly, I don't even know. When I wrote it and sent it to my manager, he said he had a really intense reaction.
That's good.
Which was good. And then it kind of like fell out of our line of sight because there's so many songs that I'm writing. And then my friend Justin made a movie. He's like, you got any songs to put in this movie? And I was like, this song would work in that movie.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of took off. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Well, I'm so glad we got to do this.
Dude,
where do you
best.
like people to find you? On Instagram? Where's your favorite?
Yeah, hit me up.
Spotify.
I mean, we do a lot. It's fun right now. We're putting a lot of really cool, like full videos on Facebook. We're doing a lot of Instagram. YouTube is the jam. Are you on TikTok? What's up? Let's talk TikTok for a
I
second.
actually just posted
what
a TikTok.
the hell is
other
going
day.
on TikTok?
I don't know.
It just switched like in the last 2 weeks, where everybody's like, "You got to be on this thing."
I don't like TikTok
Why?
because I feel like a creepy old man on there.
Yeah, dude.
It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
I don't want to be into this.
No, this is what it sounds like.
I was watching some guy at Starbucks yesterday scroll through Instagram and like he's I never like understand how these girls that like pose with their asses out or boobs and I'm like how do you have 5 million followers?
Yeah.
I found one yesterday. He was scrolling through and I was like, you're not uncomfortable with this? He wasn't hiding it. He was just like,
It is funny, dude.
this guy's
is a funny
just looking
point
at asses
of like,
on his Instagram at Starbucks.
of like how much of that happens on the phone around so many other people.
It was bizarre.
Have you heard?
I almost told on him.
I was on the plane the other day, and I heard that movie Hustlers is like really quality.
Yeah.
That like Jennifer Lopez's performance is unbelievable. So I'm like, all right, let me try it. And the first, like, it starts out like right off the top. It's like
On the plane?
Yeah,
Oh,
crazy.
it's so uncomfortable.
I put it on 2 seconds in. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I like turn it off. There's like people sitting next to me. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's happening all the time on our phone.
Yeah, man,
Wow.
it's wild.
I will say that TikTok's like pretty creative.
Oh, it's very creative.
So I'm
There's
enjoying
a
it.
girl on there who I allow myself to follow.
Okay.
Her name is I'm the J on there.
Okay.
She is fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
She's like maybe 18, 19. I don't know how old she is. She's got a tattoo, so she's definitely not like 12.
Yeah.
I assume. I don't know. I don't know how old anybody is anymore. I can't tell. They could
hard.
be 25 or they could be 13. I don't know.
No idea.
Just like before I had kids, I didn't know
Oh,
if a baby
no
was 2
clue.
months or 5 years old. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So that's how I am now with like that age range. Like I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to be caught out there where I'm like liking some photo of some girl.
That's
who's,
fair.
You know, whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, dude.
for having me. I love you.
Andy
you
Grammer.
You're like a fellow soldier pushing for the good stuff.
I'm the
appreciate
meme
it.
version of you.
I love it, dude.
Glad we met.
Great.
Thanks for
great
coming.
Stuff. Thank you, Subway.
Bye.
Peace out.